your arms are doing a lot of the work there. What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm KushP, and today I got a boxing video for you guys. If you've been liking what you've been seeing on my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date. Okay, so today I'm just gonna explain to you how you can increase the power behind your punches. When I was training a lot back in the day, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was always able to throw a few good combinations, but there was never any real power behind my punch. So I had to do some specific training to increase the power behind my punches. So that's what I'm gonna show you how to do. So it's the next day. I got a friend who understands physics better than me to explain what goes behind or the theoretical side of a punch, so I can explain that better to you guys. So I haven't taken a physics class since high school, and it's been about like 5, 7, 8 years maybe, I don't know. It's been a really long time, so I'll try my best to explain it to you guys and we'll see how it goes. So when you're twisting your hips, you're adding distance to your punch. So instead of just punching straight without moving your hips or body, you wouldn't travel too much, basically just the length of your arm. While when you twist your hips, you're adding this little bit of distance to your punch, which would make your punch travel farther, which also gives you more time to build up velocity or the speed behind your punch. Okay, so as the distance gets bigger, and you build up a greater velocity, you'll be able to build up a bigger momentum, which would result in a bigger force from your punch. Okay, so you can calculate the impact force using the formula force equals P over T, where P is momentum and T is time. Now, for momentum, it's mass times velocity, where your mass is the weight of your arm, and the velocity is the speed your fist is traveling. So putting it into a boxing perspective, if you were to watch a lightweight, they would be throwing a lot quicker punches, while a heavyweight's punches won't be faster. That's because a heavyweight has more mass on their side, while a lightweight would need to have quick punches for the same amount of momentum. Okay, so that was how you calculate your momentum. Now bringing it back to impact force, you also need time. Time in this case is it would be the fraction of a millisecond you make impact with your fist. So if you want to create the greatest Newton force behind your punch, you would want to punch something like a brick wall, where it can't absorb the punch, it won't move anywhere, and the time of impact would be the smallest amount you could get. While when you punch a bag, the bag follows your hand, so the time would get bigger, and that would make the results of your force smaller compared to if you put that same momentum into a brick wall. Then the force would end up being a lot bigger because the time of impact is smaller. Now this is just the theoretical side. If you want to throw a knockout punch, you would want to follow through with your punch. So hopefully that explained the theoretical side of a punch to someone. So I'll explain the more practical side of everything next. Okay, so when you want to throw a powerful punch, what you want to do is you always want to have a good stance. Keep your legs slightly bent, get in your fighting stance. You don't want to be too low, but just low enough where your leg muscles are all engaged, because this is where most of the power for your punch comes from. So the power of a punch comes from the momentum create from your hips. So as you can see, when I twist my hips, I use that to launch my arm forward. So this is a great way to just practice getting that hip movement down. If you are new to boxing, it's a good way to practice your technique. You don't need to be throwing hard punches, just controlled punches where you can touch the bag and bring your arm back up. Always remember to keep your arms up to when you are throwing punches, blocking your head with your opposite hand. Remember to keep your knuckles to your eyebrows, just so you make sure you block your full head. Okay, yeah, so you create the momentum from the hip, and you launch your hand forward. So that's one part of a punch. You could transfer into that's a little bit of an over-exaggerated punch or a hook, but you could make it into a hook, combinations, and the more combinations you throw, that's obviously more really exaggerated. You don't want to be doing that either. But as you throw combinations, your second punch might be a little bit more powerful than your third or first punch, because you twist, and if you twist fully, your hips are already facing the opposite direction. So if you come back and throw the other hand, you can do a full 180 twist of the hips and throw that other hand. Yeah, also when you twist and put your hips into your punch, you get a little bit more of a reach than if you don't put your hips in it. So if you see, if I'm just standing straight, this is how far I can punch. Now if I twist my hips, I would go a little bit more. And that little bit could go very far if when you're in the ring. You could also test the differences of your punches just by throwing a regular straight punch, keeping your body straight on the bag, and just seeing how hard you can throw a punch, then turning a little bit, about 45 degrees, and just put your hips into it and throw that same punch. And you can see there's a big difference in power just from rotating your hips. A lot of people think that the power of a punch comes from your arms, but really it doesn't. The arms are really just there to deliver the punch and make that contact to a bag or your opponent in a ring. Also, to make sure when you throw your punch, you can recover back into your fighting stance and block your head quickly. So you just want to be able to do that punch and block your head on your way back. So your arms and shoulder muscles may not help with the power behind your punch, but they will help with the speed for your punches. Yeah, so for the speed of your punches. So if you were to throw powerful punches all the time, you would have to be twisting constantly. But if you just want to throw a few quick jabs, then your arms are doing a lot of the work there, and your hips are just doing a quick little twist to help get that extra momentum. But really, arms aren't the source of power. But it is true that shoulders do add to the power behind a punch, but it's not really that great. The shoulder muscles are more used for muscle endurance, because you are trying to keep your arms up for long periods of time, throwing combinations, maybe blocking and whatnot. So you do need your arm and shoulder muscles, but they aren't as important as hips for the purpose of this video, which is to create the most powerful punch that you can. I should also mention too that your chest, back, and ab muscles don't play a big role in power, but they do attach your lower body to your upper body, so it helps transfer the momentum from your hips to your fist. Your range of motion is also really important when you're throwing punches for speed and power. With a greater range of motion, you have more leverage, and that could help produce more force and speed behind your punches. So it's always important to stretch. Okay, so a couple things before we start. Get a good distance from your bag. You want to be doing this on a heavy bag first, obviously, because we're trying to throw powerful punches. You don't want something light that's just gonna hit a ceiling or swing away. So once you get a good distance, keep your hands covering your face, elbows down and tucked in, keeping your chin down and tucked in as well. And you just want to get into a fighting stance, bend down in your stance, and start rocking back and forth, just moving around. And when you want to, you can throw a punch and get into it. Remember to just twist your hips when you throw the punch. And yeah, so don't forget to snap back and blocking your face. So it should look something like this. You also don't want to be showing your punch when you do this. If you're doing this for an exercise, it's fine. But if you're doing this as training to get in the ring, then you don't want to be charging your punches to throw them. It does add a little bit more power because you do build a little bit more momentum. But when you're in the ring, you don't want to be showing your opponent which hand you're throwing. So it's always good to just throw a punch like that. When you get comfortable throwing just single punches, you can start throwing some combinations. So like a cross and a hook. So it should look something like this. Cross hook. Cross hook. So exercises like the medicine ball swing or laying medicine ball throw and the clapping push-ups all will work on your muscles needed for the explosive powers on your upper body, while something like the burpees would help develop the explosive power for your lower body, your hips and all that, especially when you're coming up and jumping up. So those are like an example of a few exercises you could be doing to improve the power behind your punches. Yeah, so I have a few other exercises I could show you guys. So comment down below if you want to see that in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you guys learned something. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And hit that notification bell to get my videos right when they drop. This shall then take the form of a